Hello and welcome to Scrapping on the Fly. My name is Kristen and I am here with day 9 of 30 Days of Sketches with Christy's Beautiful Life Series 14. And this sketch is an exclusive like we have all month, and this is by Jessica Fenn. And it is 3 or 4 pictures depending, and I am going to use this big 5x7 of a very special group of people on a very special day. And then I have these two 4x6s that I'm going to cut down, and then this little small 2x3 that I'm also going to trim up a little bit to make the pictures on there. And I am using Paige Evans Blooming Wild. I have the project pad, the 6x8 paper pad, a few scraps. I have the flat stickers, the puffy word phrases, and then the puffy florals. I did not buy all the embellishments that go with this collection, but there is more stickers and alphas and wordy bits in the project pad if I need to dive into that. I hopefully won't have any problem getting this taken care of. So I have the papers, the embellishments, my pictures, and this really cool sketch. So let's see how this goes. So the first thing is I wanted to make sure to use as much pink as possible. I obviously want to go with florals, which is why I use the Blooming Wild. And this sketch really calls more for mixed media, but I really wanted to use some layers of paper instead. I am going to bring in some inks and do some stamping in just a little bit, but I really wanted to use some floral papers and embellishments for this layout. So this picture that I have right here, that's a 5x7, is from June of 2015. It was celebrating my grandmother's 90th birthday party. Her birthday is actually today, March the 9th. But my aunt, who is on the far right side in this picture, is from, let's see, at the time, can't remember if she lived in Texas or still was in California, but she lived on the other side of the country pretty much, and they were able to come that summer, so we decided we would have a big celebration for my grandmother's 90th birthday when my aunt and uncle and cousins were able to come in from Texas and California. And so that is what this is. We were at a Mexican restaurant at the time that's not open anymore called Abuela's, which is pretty fitting for my abuela's birthday. And so she loved that place, and so that was actually, I think the last time we were there, they closed like a year later. So this picture, the big one, is my dad, my grandmother, and my aunt. And then the two pictures on the bottom are my daughter and my niece when they were actually friendly to each other. So anyway, I thought these pictures were really fun. And then the small picture is the birthday cake my dad had made for my grandmother's birthday. And it's got the outline of Michigan and the outline of Kentucky, and then the years that my grandma lived in Michigan and the years she lived in Kentucky. So this is obviously before she moved to Texas. And I just thought that this would be a really fun layout to work with. Now, I did turn it, obviously, because my picture is... the bigger picture is a landscape or horizontal, and so I wanted to work that out. And then I was able to trim down those 4x6s to 3 1/4 by 3 1/4, and then just trimmed out that little picture of the cake, and then just matted those on some scraps. Now, I did put my big picture on a full 6x8 and trimmed it up, and then I cut the little scallop, and then I distressed it, and then I backed it with this other piece of scrap paper that I used my notebook punch with, because they have a little bit of like a notebook punch behind that picture as well. And then I just pulled all of the stickers to make my embellishment clusters that are pretty much where their big cluster is, but I add the two, one at the bottom and one over on the right side of the picture, because I wanted to have those 3 points and kind of bring, your eye all the way around. And so I just use all of those kinds of bits and pieces, add some extra little things, put this little word sweet on here right under the cake and next to these cute little girls. And then I also took a little word phrase sticker in right above the cake underneath my aunt that says a beautiful life. But I didn't want that to be my title. I wanted to use one of the puffy word phrases or puffy words. And so I'm going to pull those out and actually put it on top of the picture and on the picture in just a moment. But anyway, I always like to document my grandmother on her birthday, and so I figured this was the perfect time to do that. I love this picture. Like I said, this is 2015. Not even 3 years later, we lost my aunt to a drunk driver. And then 3 weeks later, my dad had a heart attack and died. And my poor grandmother was 94, 93, and had, outlived both of her children, which is, not the way it's supposed to go. And then we had her for 2 more years. So all 3 of them are gone, but this picture is just a really special picture. And the fact that my dad's smiling is pretty impressive because he's not much for that. So I do adore this picture because it is, just, they're not all together very often because they live in, one side of the country to the other. So I did decide to title this Magical Sparkle because my grandmother is definitely a sparkly personality. She always brought a lot of glitter and gold wherever she went. She was always a positive soul, and I loved spending time with her. And so to celebrate her birthday, we had pictures. You can see kind of in the background of that, the big picture, there's pictures all along the windowsill. We had framed pictures of her and my grandpa and her as a child and all the things. So it was a whole lot of fun and a really good night. And it was good to be together as a family. So here's the sketch again, and then I'm going to bring you up close. I did stamp with some recollection stamps, and I used some pine needle and broken china to make those little wreaths. And I did splatter some pine needles on there for a little extra something as well. And that is it. So I hope that you all have enjoyed this video and this layout. I would love it if you would give me a thumbs up if you did, and subscribe if you haven't already. I love making these videos and hearing from you all, so I would love to hear from you in the comments. And I hope you all have a great night. I hope you get a chance today to do something you love with someone you love, and happy scrapping.